it'd be Christmas morning with my 5 little kids. And this is the first Christmas with all 5 of our kids, like our family complete, the youngest that they'll ever be.
Long time no see.
I know, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Hello, YouTube.
Here's the YouTube people.
How do you make YouTube videos again?
Tell me your name and how old you are.
The LaBrant family is back, and this time they may just be worse than ever. Meet the LaBrant family, one of the most popular family content creators of their time, or one of YouTube's most controversial characters as they're currently being referred to. Believe it or not, the LaBrant family used to be in everyone's favorite family content creators, but that was a long time ago. Nowadays, they're just that desperate family trying to recapture lost glory by digging themselves even deeper into the same controversies that brought about the downfall of their empire. From exploiting their daughter for content.
Where are we going?
The cool town!
Are you so excited?
To championing the most disgusting clickbaits, exaggerating a natural disaster for views.
There's always wildfires going on, but I believe that this is the biggest one to ever happen in California history. I saw that on some news site, so we didn't realize how crazy.
Taking advantage of more of their children in the name of content.
Posey, you cannot look that beautiful. You have to change. You can't leave the house looking that beautiful. Oh my gosh, who did your hair? Are you kidding me?
And just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, they became the faces of one of the most controversial documentaries ever made.
So what if you're watching this and you're thinking, should I keep my baby even though it's too hard? As a matter of fact, I was in that position. I was 19 when I got pregnant with Everly.
Oh, and as soon as the state laws was about to catch up with them, they relocated.
Okay, so before we tell you guys where we're moving to, I just want to give a quick little preface as to why we are leaving California.
But they weren't really gone. However, their desperate attempt to avoid the law has once again been interrupted, and word on the street is that they really got only themselves to blame. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the worrying story of the LaBrant family's rise to fame and why they may need to be stopped once more.
What's that age gap? So she's 3.5 years older than me. So like right now we're in that technically 4-year age gap where she recently turned 30. I'm 26.
Whoa.
So yeah, so I'll be 27
I know, I
very
don't
soon,
like
but
this age gap right here.
So, you ever had a hard time coming to terms with the fact that someone's not really as good as you initially made them out to be? Well, that's pretty much the case with the LaBrants, because for the longest time they had everyone believe that they were the perfect definition of what a healthy family channel looked like.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V.
So much so that when the cracks eventually started to show, most people couldn't bring themselves to identify these red flags for what they were until they became too obvious to ignore. I mean, for the longest time, accusations flew around about how this family, especially the parents Cole and Savannah, were suspects for using their children as money machines and exposing their everyday lives to all sorts of attention in the name of content. To make matters worse, people have also pointed to the fact that some of their most viewed videos feature their daughter, who's a minor, being at the forefront, and you really can't argue with that. And then there's also that one time they made her hold a spider despite knowing she's allergic.
There we go. Watch, don't move. Here.
you're doing a good job, Ev. It's pretty cool. Oh.
I can't laugh.
No. Oh, hey.
But it wasn't until they started moving states to avoid child content laws that they really got exposed for the villains they really are. Oh, and by this time, they've also been involved in a fair amount of controversies that made canceling them even much easier, and that's what makes this all so interesting.
After that had happened, they didn't respect me anymore, and it was kind of just like, oh, that already happened, so what's the point in making her feel special? And it just, that was my personal view on it. It was just, I didn't feel respected anymore.
But before we explore the peculiar downfall of the LaBrants, let's take a look at their rise to fame and how they managed to get everyone fooled for as long as they did. Now, there's certainly no talking about the LaBrant family without first talking about this dude, Cole LaBrant, the dad. See, Cole is probably the key figure in the LaBrant family dynamics, but for him, life in front of the camera started long before the family did. Yep, That's Cole way back in 2013 performing with Dem White Boys, the little comedy group that became a sensation on Vine in the early 2010s. Their funny dances and skits made them pretty famous at the time, which meant Cole was already a popular face even before finishing high school. He's also somehow had and fronted the image of a Christian boy? Yeah, right. Well, Savannah, on the other hand, wasn't hanging about either, because right about the same time, she was slowly making her own way despite being a single mother. She was also getting famous in her own right, as she built quite a significant following on Instagram, where she usually posted fashion and lifestyle content featuring herself and her daughter Everleigh.
You're gonna be popular. I'll teach you the proper poise when you talk to boys, little ways to flirt and glance.
What this meant was that when the two of them eventually met in 2016, they were both already famous to a large extent, and perhaps that contributed to make their connection instant and quite intense as well. Oh, and as you would expect, they immediately became the talk of the entire internet, with many people gushing over the thought of the Christian boy getting down with the single mother model.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh. Wow. You think it's pretty good lighting?
It seemed wholesome. It just felt right. And you could tell they knew it too, because in a matter of months, the lovebirds were already getting married.
Okay, I'm gonna do this.
It was cute, no doubt, and from the onset, it was already clear that they'd planned to be a content family because they already created a channel, the famous LaBrant Family YouTube channel that now has millions of subscribers. Well, if this was the plan all along, then it was a damn good one, because the channel became an instant hit. You know, like that one page that everyone could relate to in their everyday lives. The channel featured daily lifestyle content.
Come on, let's go.
We're going trick-or-treating.
Milestone achievements.
Good morning for you guys.
It's actually, I just kind of randomly pulled out the camera here, and we're starting this vlog because it is the night before Everleigh's first day of kindergarten.
And of course, funny and viral pranks.
Just wash him up. Let me see your mouth.
It was the perfect recipe for the perfect family content channel, and the success was telling. Millions of followers were already stacking up in no time, and videos often had way more views. But while everything seemed perfect to the naked eye, drama was already brewing and the controversies weren't far away. The truth was about to surface. In 2019, Cole's tweet went viral when he was quoted saying, "First off, we don't use our children for fame. We hate the fame. It's the worst part of what we do." Savannah and I both had large followings before ever posting our kids. They're our kids in pride and joy, so of course we include them in everything we do now. I see you have kids. Oh, and as you might already suspect, statements like this don't just come out of the blue. As a matter of fact, this was Cole's desperate defense to allegations that he and Sav were taking advantage of their kids for content, and, well, you best believe these allegations did not come out of thin air either. See, while Cole was right about himself and his wife already having a lot of followers individually, their marriage was what you'd typically classify as a match made in heaven as far as content making was concerned. Two social media juggernauts coming together to form one mighty empire? Now that's the stuff of dreams. However, they weren't just building that empire on their own, because you didn't have to go through several of their videos to discover the real stars in these content.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. So today we are doing... Hi, my name's Everleigh, and what we're doing today is...
Yep, they were really fronting their kids, but then again, it's a family vlogging channel, and one could argue that it's nothing more, right? Well, that's where it actually gets interesting, because in this case, it's a little bit more than that. You see, when the LaBrant Family channel was initially opened, the videos mostly featured the couple alone, with entries like "How We Met," "Surprised My Girlfriend in California," and "Meet My Beautiful Girlfriend," all doing reasonably well, but not well enough for them, apparently. It was obvious that they wanted more, and it was in their search for a better format that they discovered their golden goose, Everleigh.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys were loving my videos. Today we're making slime.
Meet Everleigh LaBrant, or Evie, as she's famously referred to by her family and fans. Well, one thing you should know before it gets obvious is that while Evie and Sav's daughter, she'd already had before meeting Cole, but even at that, the connection between Cole and Everleigh was instant too and almost felt natural, and it didn't take long before she started featuring in their videos.
And so, yeah, if you turn it on this, let's see. We can look in the... Yep, so now it's on us. So it should be like, just say, hey vlog, I'm gonna take over.
Hi guys, I'm gonna take over.
Okay.
Of course, Evie used to feature a lot on Savannah's IG when she was still a young single mother documenting her lifestyle. However, it was different now because she was about to be the star this time, but she didn't know it yet. Oh, and it's also worth mentioning that Everly was only 3 years old at the time, which birthed the exploiting children for content narrative. Of course, it was subtle initially, with Evie appearing as a side character in some of the very first videos on the channel.
Where are we going?
See Santa!
But as soon as they found that videos with her tend to have way more views, they switched up immediately and started showing her more.
Ooh, yeah. Oh snap. She's gotta get down.
Fortunately, or unfortunately, this new tactic worked to perfection, with the channel getting an instant boom in both viewers and subscribers. As a result, they started fixing her into anything and everything, with videos like Game Day has a sad ending. Family baking prank war. And our wedding video, all featuring her extensively and having massive views.
Monkey, I love you.
I now present to you Mr. and Mrs. Cole LaBrant.
I can't stop crying.
However, the one that really stood out the most was 4 years old and daddy do cutest carpool karaoke ever. The video went crazy viral, reaching over 100 million views, which was mighty incredible. Oh, and to be honest, the video felt really wholesome and viewers couldn't agree more.
Hey Dad, want to listen to the radio?
Sure.
And he says, our song is the slam of screen doors, figure out it's happening.
But while some viewers reveled in the cuteness of the video, others were already catching up to the grand scheme and realizing that the Lebrandts may just be exploiting this little girl for content. The real question was, when does family content start feeling like child exploitation? Because if anything, the Lebrandts were really flirting with that imaginary line, and it was about to get even worse. See, in the months that followed, privacy became a myth for poor little Everly, who was forced to grow up in front of the camera and in front of millions, no less. Whether she was dancing,
Can you show us? Oh, wow, that was good.
Are you serious? Do it again.
visiting Disneyland,
The princess world. Who's she? She's your fairy godmother?
or enjoying herself on the water slide, the camera was always rolling, and that's the story of how every moment of her life became YouTube content. But it even gets worse, because it wasn't just the cute moments that made it to the timelines. Other questionable ones, like the video of Everly reacting emotionally to an April Fool's Day prank where they lied to her that they were giving away her dog, also surfaced.
We're giving Carl away to somebody else because we feel like we can't take good enough care of him at our house.
You can imagine putting the little girl in such a sad state with an insensitive prank and then documenting her grief for the world to see.
It's okay, Ev.
Well, it definitely ticked off a lot of viewers, and rightly so too, but little did we know that the Lebrandts were still just getting started.
Roll call! Posing! Woo! Work it, girl! Roll call, Zealand! Come on, boy. Oh, yeah. Mom on Sunday.
See, there's a reason why child exploitation for content often gets frowned upon, and you bet it's a damn good one. Firstly, the fact that uploading every moment of a child's life exposes them to all kinds of people on the internet that can often compromise their safety. Secondly, it also highlights their mistakes, and since these videos have evidence that is almost impossible to completely erase, it often makes it harder for these kids to outgrow such narratives once they've been established.
Put children in that situation, and how can such a situation disrupt important factors of child development, such as trust, attachment, predictability, consistency, security?
But most importantly, the mental effect can be telling at times, meaning that these kids would have to spend a lot of their adult lives trying to get over the trauma it often comes with. But it seems the LaBrants long chose to ignore the possibilities and focus on making some good old-fashioned engagement bucks because, as it turned out, they didn't stop at Everleigh. Yep, you heard that right. See, the LaBrant family has since expanded from just one kid to 5. And if you're thinking like Big Cole here, then that's just more avenue to get even richer with the so-called family vlogging business, which is exactly what it was turning into.
Baby and Everleigh were busy making a new dinner.
Yeah, it's like a sausage. Yeah, at the end, it's like a sausage Italian.
Oh, and they weren't just featuring the main LaBrant family channel. Nope. Cole and Savannah made sure to create and handle Instagram accounts for each one of them, even for Beckham Blue, who's only 2 years old. According to this Reddit post, they brand themselves as faith-based, family first, and protective of their kids, yet their entire income depends on exploiting those same kids' most vulnerable moments. And guess what? It's not so far from the truth because they actually do front as a relatively religious Christian family with core family values. But then again, it's also true that these kids are their primary, if not their only source of income at this point. Now, what do you call that if it's not exploitation? Well, while you ponder on that, the LaBrants definitely aren't sitting around holding hands in fellowship. Nope, not while Big Cole and Sav still find it difficult to stay out of controversies.
This Christian family has been canceled time and time again for their shocking opinions. The LaBrant family has been built on controversy from the very start.
But before we get into that, let's take a quick look at the state law that finally exposed them for good.
We are leaving California. We are leaving California. There's your first hint. And there's a bunch of reasons. Savannah and I, the family, we talked about the possibility of leaving California for a long time now. This isn't like a spur of the moment thing. This isn't a reason.
When the LaBrants announced their move from California to Tennessee in 2023, it didn't come as much of a shock because they had cited some solid reasons for relocating. In a video titled "The LaBrant Fam is Moving from California," Cole stated that the reason they're moving is mainly because they needed a change of scenery and that the entire family are united in that decision.
And there's a bunch of reasons. Savannah and I, the family, we talked about the possibility of leaving California for a long time now. This isn't like a spur of the moment thing. This isn't a recent thing. This has been a long thing since we've been married and growing our family. And obviously, you know, California's expensive, and there's a lot of reasons that way into this.
Valid, if we're being reasonable, but little did we know that there was more to this relocation than the LaBrants were telling us. At the time, the move, or at least the reason behind it, was met with only a little scrutiny, with most people only raising eyebrows at the lavished $4.5 million they spent on their new home in Nashville. For some reason, even the suspicious bunch only thought the real reason was to escape the extra taxes in California, which may not have been entirely inaccurate.
California, the beaches, the weather, the taxes.
However, it only took a few months later for the truth to surface, and it certainly didn't take long for people to catch up with what was yet another LaBrant gimmick. It was discovered that the state of California was in serious discussion to pass the Child Blogger Bill of Rights that literally sent family content creators into a frenzy. What's the bill about? Well, it was basically a law that required creators who feature children in their content to remit 65% of the child's earnings into a Coogan account for when they become adults. Seems fair enough, doesn't it? Well, it certainly didn't sound that simple for greedy family content creators who would rather relocate completely than agree to keep for their own kids the money they're actually extorting from them.
There is a new law that just went into effect in California, and I will read it to you. Effective January 1st, 2025, content creators who feature minors in at least 30% of their content must deposit 65% of the minor's gross earnings.
In light of this interesting new piece of information, one particular family started to make the headlines, and they were none other than your favorite family vloggers. Now, remember when Cole made this tweet claiming they do not use their children for fame? Well, it was all unraveling fast, and that particular tweet certainly didn't age well. Also, the illusion of moving to Tennessee to rebrand into the perfect family became undone as critics and commentary channels were having a filled day exposing them and calling them out as frauds.
When they reach adulthood, they are moving to Tennessee to avoid having to pay their kids what they are earning off of them.
Of course, they were quick to debunk this as just mere speculation and stood by the original reason they gave initially, but barely 3 years after their move to Tennessee, they are already hinting at moving again. Why? Well, guess who just implemented a new child content law? Yeah, you got that right. Tennessee. There's no escaping the backlash this time. Even after the LaBrants once again denied the rumors, the internet seems to have already made up its mind and their reputation is sealed. A family channel that exploits their own kids for views, money, and fame. But this certainly isn't their first time making the headlines for all the wrong reasons, as they're quite used to being the subject of one controversy or the other.
So this is Cole LaBrant and this is Savannah LaBrant. They have a family channel together and they recently posted a 43-minute video.
Here's where you take out the popcorn, because the story of this model family is about to take a turn off the wrong lane. And that's just putting it mildly.
Like, it's anti-choice propaganda that's filled with falsehoods, misinformation, and actively spreading very harmful and disgusting companies that sole purpose is to try to women's bodies.
Of course, of the several times the LaBrants have landed at the center of controversies, none was more heavily debated than that time they split the world in two with their infamous 2022 documentary about the morality of, abortion. But that was when all hell broke loose, because the things they were about to be saying in this podcast showcased all shades of red flags.
So I feel like a lot of people watching or listening might not know how abortions are performed, I think you hear pro-choice and it sounds right because it's like, oh, well, the mother should be able to decide whether to keep or not keep, but they don't understand what not keep means.
The entire podcast started off on one wrong foot, since they thought it would be a good idea to compare abortion statistics to famous inhumane genocides like the Ugandan genocide, the Cambodian genocide, and even the Holocaust.
Possible for us to love both the mother and the baby. Maybe the answer isn't either or, but rather both. I have my personal convictions. You have yours. We're all so different. And that's okay.
Of course, this was completely unacceptable, since they didn't just compare, but tried to undermine some of the most notorious massacres in world history. So while they felt they were making good points with their punchlines,
and I feel like it's so necessary for people to know.
Yeah.
Because I think that if this is what's going to happen, the media and news outlets and people can just downplay it.
Yeah. And even with like the little bit that I did know,
what they actually did was cross the line and infuriate people. So they didn't just effectively nullify whatever message they said the podcast was trying to pass, but they also put themselves on the chop block, as critics immediately classified them as anti-Semites. Tell you what, the worst part of all of it was the fact that the documentary was uploaded to a channel that clearly had millions of young viewers and subscribers. There was definitely no sugarcoating this particular situation, and the backlash was inevitable for the LaBrants. It even got worse to the extent that platforms had to intervene, with YouTube immediately demonetizing the video and Instagram removing all promotional posts about it. But then, in the midst of all these, the LaBrants still refused to take down the video despite the unrivaled criticism it attracted, especially on Twitter. The critics certainly didn't hold back, and unsurprisingly so, too, well, because if you play stupid, you damn well expect stupid prizes, right? Even Reddit threads had them up on the cross with comments like this one calling out their obvious hypocrisy, and this one scrutinizing the message and its timing. The heat was so much that both Cole and Savannah had to delete their Twitter accounts. Also, this particular controversy may be the one that seals the fate of their reputation as long as critics are concerned, but you'd be too benevolent to think it's their only one, because, well, it doesn't even scratch it. For one, the fact that they've been married for 7 years and already have 4 kids in that time is one of the topics that come up when you mention the LaBrants. Bro was even quoted in an Instagram post saying that Savannah has either been pregnant or breastfeeding for 95% of their 7-year marriage, and that he doesn't know if he'll even like her still after she's done being pregnant and breastfeeding, because he doesn't know what that's like anymore. Now, that may sound strange, but you'll also find that with this family, it's literally just one gimmick after another. But there's no forgetting that the time they crossed the line again by using their daughter's health condition as clickbait.
Clickbaited a lot of their supporters, a lot of their subscribers, saying that their kid had cancer. And guys, first things first, let me tell you, cancer is nothing to play around with. This is a very bad.
Apparently, if there's even anything the LaBrants won't do for engagement, joking about their daughter having cancer isn't one of them. See, in 2021, the LaBrants trended for pulling another distasteful prank when they hinted that their daughter, Posey, had been diagnosed with cancer. The video was titled, "She Got Diagnosed with Cancer," and the thumbnail suggested they were talking about their daughter. Yeah, you can imagine the fear that sparked among fans and viewers who had Posey's best interest at heart, but then a closer look at the video revealed it was only a clickbait, and their daughter was not remotely close to getting diagnosed.
My Instagram Explore page is just filled with kids with cancer and different families with cancer, and it's just never ending. It's never ending. It's never ending.
In the end, it turned out that they were only talking about children having cancer and just used their daughter to scare people into watching. Yeah. Turns out this couple are either that clueless or just downright deranged with their decision making at times. Much like that time they thought it would be wise to withdraw their daughter Everleigh from school so they'd have extra hands helping at home.
And one of the reasons that Savannah in particular said that she wanted to homeschool her was because she wanted help and support with all of the children that she was having. She said because she was going to have 3 young children under the age of 3, Everleigh would be very helpful. Everleigh, by the way, is 9.
It's just completely insane to think that you can just sacrifice your child's education because you want them to be helping you at home. But then again, these are the LaBrants, and we've learned to expect anything from them, especially when it's, liable to reel in more views for them. Oh, and talking about clickbaiting, did you know the LaBrants once lied with a fire disaster just for views?
I'm going far, far away.
We're going away from the fire so you don't have to be scared anymore.
Yeah. A pair of famous YouTubers are being called out after claiming they had to leave their California home due to the area's wildfires.
So you probably heard or read about the wildfire that ravaged parts of California back in 2018, right? Well, that was obviously a sad time for the state, but guess what? Well, apparently some residents thought it would be cool to make the entire thing about them. And yeah, the culprits were you know who.
It smells like fire. It smells like there's like 1,000 people smoking cigarettes.
I mean, we've seen them exploit their kids for clout, so this might probably not come as much of a surprise, but it sure didn't go down well for them back then, or at least not as they might have thought it would. So what exactly did they do? Well, as is typical of them, they tried to farm engagements by claiming they've been affected by the fire by posting a video titled, "We left our home because of the fires in California." Now, while they really did leave their home, a closer look at the video showed that the fire was absolutely nowhere close to their house like they claimed.
So this is our roof, and there's a fire, so pretty close.
So making a video and then pretending to be affected was just another of their little clickbaits. Exactly. And if you're still thinking, who in their right mind pulls a stunt like that? Well, you probably haven't met the engagement and attention-hungry LaBrants. And while they did get the attention they sought, it wasn't all rosy. And it definitely wasn't anything like the hero's reception they'd have hoped for from their fans. The message was quite clear. A disaster as serious as this isn't content material, and you sure as hell shouldn't be making it about you.
So Savannah and I have a pretty good teamwork combination where she does the baby. She does the baby throughout the night, which is why she's sleeping in this morning. So we'll put the baby to bed at 10 p.m. whenever we go to sleep, and then he'll wake up to eat again at 2 a.m., which Savannah does. She lets me sleep through the night, and then she does the baby again at 6 a.m. You all done? Good job.
For a family notorious for controversies as the LaBrants, there's no denying that the negative attention kind of went down after their move to Tennessee. Perhaps they finally got tired of wanting to be in the spotlight no matter the cost, or maybe it's just the amount of responsibility that comes with taking care of not 1, not 2, but 5 kids.
Guys, it is getting lit in the LaBrant family household.
I guess that's one way.
And by lit, I mean, if you are thinking about having 5 kids, think again.
Okay.
Nowadays, their style is less aggressive, and even the frequency of their uploads have significantly changed. What used to be a channel for daily vlogging has now been reduced to occasional uploads on milestone celebrations.
Okay, it is the kids' first day of school. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
They're no longer focusing on the clickbaiting, but are rather shifting to more matured content, if you can even believe it. Still wired, but the change is undeniable. Their newer content now feature clips about not wanting any more children.
Leading into that, I think we're done having kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the first time where I'm like...
And Cole getting a vasectomy, which is long overdue if you ask me.
That being said, guys,
It's a fun season.
I got a vasectomy consultation tomorrow.
He does.
At 2:30 p.m. with my urologist.
He's so excited about it.
Of course, there are suggestions that the backlash they faced might have ultimately led to the change in lifestyle, As a matter of fact, the family now appears more on other platforms like Instagram and TikTok, where they still boast a relatively incredible fan base. However, there's just no denying that the Lebrandts and the entire family influencer niche might never reach the heights they once enjoyed, and that's mostly due to the criticism this type of content attracts. Something else that's pretty much undeniable is that while the Lebrandts really did enjoy a massive career, their affinity to even bigger controversies may well be the real reason behind their downfall and the ultimate shift from their type of content.
I won. You guys both have to jump in the pool.
Now, with the dark side of family influencers finally exposed, it's definitely gotten bigger than just the Lebrandts, with emphasis being laid on why family channels shouldn't be allowed to profit from children.